And I want to welcome you to another edition of Some Heart Talk with Adelai Brown. I am your heart coach, and I work with individuals to confront matters of the heart, tell themselves the truth, and live authentically on purpose. And when we do that, we create what? Heart equity, personal, relational, and financial wealth through authentic living. I'm so happy to have you here. We are in the 10th year of celebrating heart talk and heart work and heart connections and all of the wonderful things that God is doing with our heart, because we know that out of our hearts flow the issues of life. Our hearts determine our motives, right? So it's really important for us to get to the heart of the matter, the center of the matter, the reason for why you do what you do. It's not so important about what you're doing, it's more important about why you're doing what you're doing. And I just wanted to come and talk to you. If you have been struggling with feeling stuck, if you have been struggling with feeling like you're not living your life to your fullest potential, you are always pouring into other people and not being poured back into the way that you give off. It's like your intentions are never fully realized and understand by those that you love and invest in the most. If you can relate to any of that, let me know, right? Like this video, share it with somebody that you know. Maybe you're that go-to person in your family, right? Every time something goes wrong, every time there's an issue, you're that person that everyone calls. And though you love your family and you love your community and you're passionate about the things that you know God has called you to do, you're tired. You're frustrated. And if you can relate to that, I know I could relate to that. I know, especially when I was raising my family, when my children were much younger, I really struggled with being able to balance being a wife, being a mother, being a daughter, being a sister, being a friend. Now, my mom and our relationship really developed, but when I was raising my children, my mom was a handful. Dealing with her was like dealing with my husband and my 4 children all at one time. And so, there was a season in my life where I felt stuck, where I felt like I love my family, this is what I dreamed of, this is what I prayed for, but I did not imagine that I would, experience them as a burden the way I am. I didn't realize I would be so unhappy with the people and the circumstances that at one point in my life I was dreaming about. And now it's like I have the husband, I have the children, I have the family, but I'm miserable. Right? And if you could relate to that, or if you've been around anybody that it's like you looking at their life on the outside, it seems like they just have it all together. But when you talk to them or you take a peek behind the curtain of their lives, you realize they're miserable. They're not happy. They're not fulfilled. And you're trying to figure out why. You say things to yourself like, well, if I had that life, I would be happy. If I had the things that she has, I would be happy. That's what you're saying. But see, when you have not dealt with the issues of your heart, you can keep getting every single thing you're asking for, and it's going to feel empty, right? It's like eating junk food. It fills you just for that moment. An hour or two later, you got to deal with those calories, but you're still hungry again. So now what are you going to do? That's what it's like in life when you keep piling on all the exterior accessories. When you keep my cousin got a business called Over Accessorize. Shout out to Over Accessorize. When you over accessorize your life, it might look good on the outside. What are you over accessorizing to cover up on the inside? Right? And what I realized was when I was that teen mom, not getting along with my mom, not getting along with my daddy, estranged from my daddy, beefing with my mama, beefing with my baby daddy, when I was that teen mother, I didn't even feel worthy or valuable that I could even be a wife. So when I became a wife and found myself unhappy, I further beat myself down, because it's like, wow, you finally got what you've been praying for and you still ain't happy? I know I'm not the only one who ever felt that way or ever been around someone, because let me tell you the truth, people will judge you. I'm telling you my own experience, but many times when you're in environments with people and you think they got it all together, if you find out about a weakness or a shortfall or a shortcoming, a lot of people revel in things like that. Because it's like, ooh, I thought she had herself together. I didn't know she struggled with this. I didn't know she struggles with that. But let me tell you something. The Bible tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, right? So when we start to testify and tell the truth about what we're going through, that is the ammunition, the fuel that we need to overcome whatever that circumstance is, right? So you might be somebody that on the surface, you got it all together. Or you realize you've been getting a lot of the things that you've been praying for. You know what I'm saying? But what you need to understand is that letting this lady out in traffic. What you need to understand is that there is freedom for you. That you can love your husband, you can love your children, you can love your parents, but you have to learn the steps to do that. I had to implement 6 steps in my life. And I did not implement these steps knowingly. I learned on the fly. When I look back over my life, I realized these were the steps that I was taking that absolutely changed my life. That took me from stuck to unstoppable. That took me to from broken to bountiful, right? Because what I realized the other day when we wrapped our Heart Equity Exchange last Sunday, our business networking and training community that we have, what I realized was I'm never going to be the same. Like losing my mom, I'm never going to be the same person I was on March the 10th, 2024. Who I've been since March 11th, 2024 is not the same person I was on March the 10th, 2024 and prior. So when I tell you these 6 steps, I adopted these 6 steps years ago when God started transforming my life. When I stopped running from the hidden insecurity, the hidden low self-esteem, when I was trying to cover up the low self-esteem and the insecurity that I had about myself and my life through overachieving, trying to do good in my profession, trying to do good in my marriage, trying to make my kids perfect, me trying to be perfect, trying to make a perfect relationship with my parents, and it was absolutely awful, right? I was trying to do all of those things because I felt so inadequate. So I felt like, let me over accessorize myself, right? And what it felt like was bondage. Because sometimes when we put too much on, it ends up weighing us down. It's like a chain that's holding us back from the freedom that God has for us. So you want freedom right now. Maybe you have a challenging relationship that you're in right now. Maybe your children are at a very demanding, like nothing, the work that's there for people and being loyal when they were not being loyal to you. Right? These 6 steps are going to help you through this process. Right? So the first step in the process of going from bondage to freedom in your life and from stuck to unstoppable is connection. You got to make a connection. That's step number 1. When I started really looking at, Lord, what happened was I had to start asking better questions. Instead of asking, what is wrong with me? Why is my life like this? Why am I so messed up? Why do things keep going bad? Those were the questions I was asking. So those were limiting questions. So I kept getting limited answers and limited responses. So you got to get connected. And when you get connected, you cry out to God. It's just like your phone and the charger. Right now, my phone is plugged in this charger. So it is connected and getting all of the energy that it needs to keep running. And the reason why you've been feeling so bound and so stuck and so lost and so rejected, and you always at the bottom end, and you always the last one chosen, or you always the one that people overlook, it's because you got to stay connected. And you've been looking for people to be your source. You've been looking for your man or your woman to be your source, your partner or your lover to be your source. You've been looking for your children to fulfill you and be your source. You've been looking for your parents to be your source. And even if you're an adult now, you're probably frustrated with your parents because they weren't enough of the source that you needed. But what I'm saying is my source is Jesus Christ. The power of the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, is working in my life. And connection has brought about a healing and a transformation that I can't even put into words. I wouldn't even be on this video going live with you right now if it wasn't for the power of the connections of my faith. That connection is a foundation that you can stand on. It's like this phone that I'm talking to you on, I've made tens of thousands of dollars on this one phone, right? But if I don't keep this phone connected to a power source, I don't care what the potential of the capabilities of this phone is, it's not going to work right until I connect it to the charger. So if you want to be free in your life, if you want to be unstoppable and you want to get unstuck, the first thing you got to do is get connected. And for me, it's Jesus Christ. No one else. Because that connection led me to the second step that took me to my journey of freedom in my life and the journey that I know you're going to get free. The second step is awareness. When you bring about a connection, just like with your phone, if my phone went dead and I had to cut it back on, once I put that phone and made it connected to the source, the next thing I'm going to do when that phone cuts on, it's going to become aware of its environment. It's going to become aware of what's going on around it. It's going to pick up on the Wi-Fi signals and the data sources. If I have certain location services, it's going to pick up on that. It's going to become aware of what's going on around you. When you start to transform your life and you want to live in true freedom and you want to truly build authentic wealth in your life, you got to be aware of what's going on around you. See, a lot of times we can't get change, we can't get breakthrough because we are oblivious to what's going on. Because you know why? Because we blame everybody else. Because we are projecting. This isn't working because of this person. This isn't working because of that person, right? Instead of getting still, using that connection and getting quiet and getting still and starting to pay more attention to what's going on in your environment. Some people may say be more present, but I'm not just talking about being present in your environment. Be present in your circumstances, in your situations. If there's a certain challenge you've been going through in your life and it's been going on for a long time, I'm calling you to get connected and get quiet so you can be more aware. Start to look into that situation. Right? So I'm a realtor, and this is a good way I can explain these steps to you. When you get connected, I tell my clients, when you get connected, it's like getting with your realtor, right? You know you're ready to buy a house, but sometimes people come to me and they want to buy a house, and they may have the income to buy a house, but they don't have the credit, or they might not have the savings to buy a home. But they have the income. So the first thing is connect with the source. So you got the source, you got your income. But now we need to be aware. So if the bank is saying, well, you have enough money to buy a house, but you don't have enough money in your possession to purchase a home, now we need to start to get more aware. What is your spending looking like? Right? If you're working and you have the funds coming in every week, every 2 weeks, every month, so now let's start to be more aware of what your spending looks like. Because some people come to me, I just can't buy a house. It's just too hard. I've been trying and everybody else been trying and I've been trying to do good. And it's like all these other people getting their house and I can't get my house. So we get connected. And now we start to be aware. So now let's look over your finances. Now we realize when we're looking at your bank statement, every week you got a receipt from the shoe shop. Every week you got a receipt from eating some high class meal out. Every week you got a receipt from the mall. You shopping it up. So we've become aware of where our finances are going. So now it's not so much that I don't have enough money to purchase a home. I got connected. to someone, to something that can help me. And then now that connection is making me more aware. This is something I actively go through with my clients. But I want you to see how these 6 steps play out in life, right? So now the third, so we got connection is the first step. Awareness is the second step. Now the third step is acceptance. Now, usually when we become aware of something, we like to blame somebody else. Oh, my child acting up in school, or I'ma blame their daddy because he don't spend enough time with them. As a mother, that's what we do. My husband acting up, or I'ma blame him. I'm not gonna pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm not gonna. I realize that there's something going on. I'm aware, step 2. But now step 3, I have to accept my part in the matter. So when we go back to my real estate example, this particular client, okay, now you've been made aware of your spending habits. Now you have to accept, step 3, the fact that your spending habits currently are not what is necessary and what you need to be able to purchase the home that you desire to live in. It's not that you don't have the money. It's not that you don't have the resources. It is the choices that you're making or choosing not to make. That is the reason why you're not in the house, or you're not currently approved to get the house you want to get. Now that's a touchy subject for a lot of people, because you would not be surprised at how much we struggle with being accountable for our own actions. We like to blame other people for our mishaps, our shortfalls, because it's really hard when you got to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. Like they say, the truth hurts, but it also sets us free. And what I often find is a lot of people can't experience freedom. They can't experience transformation. They can't experience breakthrough in their finances. They can't experience breakthrough in their love life. They cannot experience breakthrough with the relationships that matter the most, because they are not willing to accept everything for what it is. A lot of times we like to wish somebody would be better. We like to wish a situation would be different. But the truth of the matter is, it is what it is. It does not matter, in my real estate example, how much money you make. If you are not spending that money wisely, then you're not going to be able to purchase the home, much less the home you want. And that's something I really have to work with my clients to accept, because they know how much the salary tell them on their W-2 or their W-4, but when they go to the bank, they're not getting approvals of the people they heard or the estimates they heard, right? But this is this 6-step process I'm telling you about is my divine heart transplant process, right? And this 6-step process is exactly what it is. It is a heart transplant. It is a changing of the way that you think. It is a changing of the way that you believe, because it is addressing what you are feeling, and it is addressing it in an authentic way instead of addressing what you're feeling in a dismissive way. Because the truth of the matter is, your thoughts are coming from your feelings. Your feelings are not coming from your thoughts. So if you don't start working these steps, what's going to happen is your emotions are going to continue to control your life, and you're going to never be able to get it together. So let's stick to the steps. So we got connected. We got awareness because of that connection. And now we got acceptance, because I'm going to be accountable. Acceptance deals with being accountable. Be accountable for the part you played. Be accountable for when you overlooked or when you looked away. Just be accountable. Be accountable for not knowing. And then after you have accepted the situation for what it is, the 4th step, and what I feel is the second half of the big pivot of this transformation, is forgiveness. If you're going to do anything big in your life, you're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to forgive yourself, and you're going to have to forgive other people for the things that they did to you. Some of those things you got to forgive, you haven't even had the courage to acknowledge it. But I encourage you to start the forgiveness process. Forgive yourself for not knowing. Forgive yourself for overlooking. Forgive yourself for wanting to be loved and accepted so much that you allowed bad things to happen because you just didn't want to lose out on the love that was presented to you, even though it was cheap, even though it was manipulative, right? Let's talk about it. because forgiveness is such a big deal. Like, Jesus died on the cross to forgive us of our sins so that we do not have to go to hell because of the lack of forgiveness of sins. So having a repentant heart is a big part of our whole eternal resting place, right? So when we think about transforming our life and actually living a life of freedom, forgiveness is a part of that. You got to be willing to reconcile your past. You don't have to go back to it, but you got to be able to think about things in your past without cringing, without crying, without getting so upset, or without feeling shame. If you still experiencing those thoughts when you think about things from your past, you got some work to do. And there's some forgiveness that needs to take place. Now let's go to the 5th step. And this is a big step. And 5 is the number of grace, because I truly believe we need grace when we make this 5th step. The 5th step is we make a decision. A decision is different than a choice, because a choice is you leaving your options open. When you leave a decision, you decide. When you make a decision, you decide. You cut off all other options and you're moving forward in that direction. And so in the case of my real estate example, forgiveness is my client looking at their spending habits over the years and saying, man, I could have been done bought me a house, or I could have been doing the things I wanted to do, but my spending habits are bad, and I'm not really good with money. That's forgiveness. That's acceptance that goes into forgiveness, when we can have those types of conversations. Now, when we get to step 5, which is decision, that's my client saying, okay, I'm going to follow the budget. I'm going to follow the plan. If this is the amount of money I can spend per pay period, if this is the amount of money I have to save per pay period, I'm going to stick to this because I want to purchase my home. So we come up with the plan in your decision period, a strategy, and then you commit to making that happen. You commit to that decision, right? You're not wavering back and forth. And the 6th and final step is you take action. Now, once you make that decision, you got your plan, you got your strategy in place. Now it's time to execute the plan. That's how you're going to get freedom. Get connected. Get aware of what's going on in your life through that connection. A lot of time you can know what's going on, but if you're not looking at it through the right lens, my connection, looking at it through the lens of the Word of God, looking at it through the lens of prayer and worship. When I see my life like that, I can see my life more empowered. I can get on here and talk to you because I know this is what I'm called to do. But when I'm not working these steps, I'm on that couch depressed. When I'm not working these steps, I just don't know what life gonna be like without my mama. When I'm not working these steps, I look at all the things that are not working out and I'm like, Lord, I can't do this. But when I really lock in and I work these steps, I know nothing can stop me. For real. Because death tried to stop me. Death really tried to stop me from getting on here and being able to have this conversation with you and us growing heart equity together and making these heart connections, doing this heart work by heart talk. It all has a purpose. And these 6 steps have changed my life over and over and over again. These are the 6 steps I used when I didn't like my mama or my daddy. Like, I talk about having abusive relationships in the past. That wasn't just with men. That wasn't just with women. Look, I had abusive relationships with my family members. Me and my mom had physical altercations that took place. We had serious struggles a long time ago. So you see me crying over my mom, and I really miss my mom, and I do. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get on here and share this with you. Because there was a time where I would say I didn't care if my mama lived or died. When I was in my 20s, my early 20s and my late teens, and even into my later 20s, I said it really didn't matter because our life was so toxic. Our relationship was so destitute. But the Lord changed me through the reading of my Bible, through prayer and fasting and meditation and working these 6 steps. These steps will transform your life. I write about a lot of this in my book. Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. And you can order that on Amazon. You can also go to my link tree / the Heart Connections on Linktree and go check it out and order your copy. I also have the copy where you can get the audio book where I recorded it in my own voice. You also have an opportunity to buy the ebook. It's all on my link tree. You can get everything in one spot. Linktree / the Heart Connections. But I wanted to get on today because these 6 steps: connection, awareness, acceptance, forgiveness, decision, taking action, will set you free. If you commit to working those 6 steps, I promise it'll set you free. I had a client call me and she said, when I first started working these steps with you, I was frustrated. I was angry. I didn't really like what you were saying. But I knew that you were saying it in love. And I knew that you knew what you were talking about. And she said 2 years into it, I can honestly say my life doesn't look anything like I thought it would look. And it's blessed. I couldn't even imagine my life looking like this. And just thanking me for working my steps. And me thanking me for not giving up. And I tried to give up. I tried to give up a lot of times. And I'm being honest with you about this because I talk to you about hard work. I talk to you about transforming your life. But what I want you to understand is this stuff don't happen overnight. But if you commit to it and you commit to the process, you're going to see a transformation in your life. And not just in your life, in the lives of everybody you connected to. I feel like everybody around me is better because I'm better. And when others get better around me, they make me better. So these 6 steps are 6 steps to your freedom. But my question is, are you going to take them? And you don't have to worry about all 6 of the steps. Just start with the 1. Just get connected. Stay connected with this channel. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications when I go live. Because I want you to be here. I want us to grow together. Get on the link tree. Get your copy of the books. I have daily devotional. I have a personal growth and development book. Like I have other books there. Like, just go and check it out. You're not alone. You don't have to do this by yourself. But you will stay in bondage if you keep trying to be a one-man or a one-woman show, trying to fight off all these attacks, all this battle, all this war with you by yourself. Tap into your community. That's what Heart Equity and the Heart Exchange is all about. The Heart Equity Exchange is just all about tapping into your community. A community that's focused on growing personal, relational, and financial wealth through authentic living. Because I'm sick of all this fakeness. This election season, it just pissed me off. It just shows me how superficial people are. But let me tell you what's not superficial: panic attacks. Let me tell you what's not superficial: depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, kidney failure, cancer. All these things are caused when we don't express how we feel. When we're not honest and true to our true self and just how we feel and what we think about life. And I'm on a mission as your heart coach to help you do that. So it's time for us to confront the matters of the heart. Tell ourselves the truth and authentically transform our lives. That's what heart work is all about. That's what growing heart equity is all about. I love y'all so much. I just wanted to get on today and just share what was on my heart. And if this has blessed you, please share with anyone that you think could benefit from it. I love you. Have a wonderful day. And remember, when you heal your heart, you transform your life.